Hello everyone, my name is Cherie, and today I want to do a video on books that I want to read in 2016. So I've been thinking about what reading goals I want to have for 2016, and I'll probably be laid back about it. I will end up setting a goal on Goodreads for how many books I want to read next year, and I'll probably end up participating in the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge, and I will leave a link to that challenge in the description box down below. Now for this video, I picked 12 books that are already on my TBR that I definitely want to get to sometime in 2016. I figured 12 would be the perfect amount for this video, so let's just get into the books. The first book I have is The Gollum and the Jenny by Helene Wecker. This is an adult fantasy novel. It's set in 1899 in New York. Pretty much, I'm guessing about a Gollum and a Jenny. Now, I purchased this book a few years ago and it was definitely a cover buy. I've wanted to pick it up many times, but for some reason I haven't yet, so that is why this book is on this list. The next book I have is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo, the first book in the Grisha trilogy. I own the entire Grisha trilogy, and that is why this book is on this list. I need to finally read it, and maybe I'll end up reading the entire trilogy next year. I'm not sure, but I definitely want to finally read this book. Another first book in a series I definitely want to finally read is The Cuckoo's Calling by Robert Galbraith, aka J.K. Rowling. It is a mystery novel, and I've heard people really enjoy this series, so 2016 is a great time for me to finally get into it. The next book I have is The Rosie Project by Graham Simpson. This is a romantic comedy novel. It is about a scientist who I believe he ends up deciding that he wants to design the perfect partner. I believe I've heard people talk about this book on BookTube, and it definitely sounds like a fun read, and hopefully I'll enjoy it. The next book I have is a book that I started this year but did not finish, and that is The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova. This book came out years ago, and I remember it being a huge bestseller, which is what made me want to pick it up in 2015. And I really was enjoying what I was reading. It's just I was reading it slow, and I really wanted to read something else at that time as well. So I ended up putting it down, but I definitely want to pick this back up. The next book I have on this list has kind of been intimidating me, and that is Dragonfly and Amber by Diana Gabaldon. This is the second book in the Outlander series, and I read Outlander earlier this year, and I really enjoyed it. And since I enjoyed it, you would think that I would want to just pick up this second book in the series, right? But the book just feels so big to me, and the words on the page are so small that it's been intimidating me, but I'm going to get over that intimidation and finally read it so that I can move on in the Outlander series. Another book that also has been intimidating me because of the size is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. This is the first book in the Kingkiller Chronicles. I believe there are only 2 books out and maybe a novella. Part of that is why I haven't read it yet, since there's only 2 books out, and part of it because of the size, but I have yet to hear one bad thing about this book, so I need to read it. I just need to read it. Another book that I definitely want to read, and I'll probably end up reading it in the springtime, and that is Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I cannot tell you why I have not read it yet. I've had it on my shelf for over a year now, but I will read this. So by the time 2016 is over and I bring up this video and talk about all the books I read from this video, this book is going to be in the red pile. The next one I have is Burial Rites by Hannah Kent. Now what I know about this book is there's a girl who's awaiting execution, and that's pretty much all I know about this book, but I feel like it's been sitting on my shelf begging me to read it, and I think the people that have read this book did like it, so I'm putting it on my list for 2016. And the next one I have on this list is Some Sing Some Cry by Ntozak Shange and Ifa Bayeza. Now I just hauled this book, and I mentioned in that haul that I'll most likely be reading this in the beginning of 2016, so this definitely needed to be on this list. Now this book tells the story of a family throughout different generations, and I believe it's from slavery until now, or it even goes into the future. And the last 2 books I have on my Kindle, the first being Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. This book came out a few years ago, and I've heard nothing but great things about it. There are a lot of people who love this book, and I believe the sequel to it came out this year. It is an adult contemporary novel. I believe it might even be a romance. And the last one I put on this list is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. It is a young adult fantasy series, and I believe the 4th book came out this year. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was the 4th book. A lot of people have read this series. There are very mixed reviews on this series. Some people love it. Some people think it's overrated. I want to get my own opinion on it, so I'm putting it on this list so that I can start it and see how I feel about it. So those are all the books on my 2016 TBR list. Let me know if you are creating a list of books that you think you want to get to in 2016. Also, let me know which of these books you think I should read first. And thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!